podcast show. It is Soulful Sundays, and yes, Mama Matcha has been relaxing because Mama Matcha was outside yesterday. Like, I went to do a simple self care thing for me, and Spirit was like, "You always on duty." Like, I'm always on duty, Spirit. I felt like I was being, I just had a wonderful, and I vlogged about it, a bit during the travels, but it was just wonderful. It was just magnificent. And it was a lesson. It was a lesson. And I'm always excited about the lessons that I learn because I know that um, they're always universal. So if I'm learning a lesson in one aspect of my life, it's applying to another aspect of my life too. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit before I jump into our book, which we are starting today because I don't want to put it off anymore. Evolve the Brain. And the fact that I was able to speak with a wonderful intellectual and talk briefly about, and I'm going to start with just the forward. I'm gonna start with the forward. I'm gonna review this chapter and see how long it is because I can't stay on here too long. I have papers to write. I am, at the end of my So we're not gonna do this full first chapter today. We are only gonna do the forward of this book. But before I dive into this book, let me tell you about my yesterday. So again, I talked a bit about it. I vlogged while I was traveling, but of course I was outside. So I was mindful of the words that I was choosing and things of that sort because I know that not only I wasn't talking only to my audience here on this platform, but I also was talking to all of the ears that were around. And there were so many different ears around. There were adults, there were children, there were elders. So again, I had to be mindful of what I was saying, and I was mindful of what I was saying. Um, so yeah, I had scheduled something months ago, back in November, paid for it, was intending to do it, I believe, like in January or December. I think December was my first appointment. And then so much was going on. I was like, this is not gonna work. So let's push it to January. And I pushed it to January. January came and it was like, oh, this is definitely not gonna work now. Let's push it to March because March I'll be already settled into this new semester. In January, I wasn't even sure whether I was going to continue where I'm studying at, but I am. I'm finishing up there and I'm going forward to other places and spaces. And yeah, I figure, end of March is perfect. It's after the new year, so it'll be even um, more impactful for myself. Why? Because when you starting something on a new year, it's almost like you have a whole bunch of momentum to help you. It's not a struggle, it's more easier, and I'm glad. I'm glad I waited. I had a phenomenal experience at Stretch Loft. These people are holistic and professional, and they're melanated, so they are tuned in and tapped in, and I am so tuned in and tapped in. When I tell you so tuned in and tapped in, like, I don't know, there is a word, I think it's called Heyoka empath. I really truly believe I'm a Heyoka empath because I am a very, very powerful empath. And some people look at power as just force. Power is not just force. It means that I'm also very tuned in and tapped into my environments and to the energies that are around me, which is why I love my solitude. I love my solitude because it's just great to not feel other people's energies. However, and on the travels that I did, there was nothing but that opportunity to feel so many different energies. And what I can say from all the energies that I felt and interacted with, that we okay. Like, we is okay. Stop getting so scared. Stop being so afraid. We are okay. And many of us know this, many of us know this. I've seen people who, we didn't have to say anything to each other, but I saw them, they saw me, we smiled, at each other and just kept flowing. And it was just confirmation that I am not the only one out here that is intentional about good energy and grounding good energy and putting good energy out there. Like, I am not, there's so many people, and they're not all on a platform, they're not all talking to the world, but the people that they interact with and the things that they do are magnificent. So I am so grateful to be one of the many who are here incarnated right here right now on the planet, and just grounding the good vibrations and flowing the good vibrations and spilling out good vibrations, because it's so important. And again, as I noticed on my travels, people are just living their lives happy, traveling, kids are laughing, couples are in love, people are eating, laughing, drinking. Like, even DC did not feel heavy. And I was in DC and I did not plan to be in DC, but DC felt the opposite of heavy. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I didn't plan to travel to DC at all. But now I am planning to be in and out of DC the whole freaking year, which is ironic because that's God. That's divinity. That was the straight divinity, straight divine redirecting. Because the place that I went to is not in DC. The place that I went to is in a whole nother city in Maryland. But I figure if I travel, and I was traveling to another major city in Maryland, I was traveling to Baltimore. Baltimore is where I bought my initial tickets for. Baltimore was where I was going to travel through and then take a cab to what you call it. And I remember I looked at my phone to see how much a taxi was from Baltimore to where I was going, and it wasn't that much. So I was like, okay, this works. Like, I had really planned it out. But lo and behold, guess what was closer? Guess what was closer to the city? Not Baltimore. Baltimore, even though it was a affordable cost for me to travel from their bus station to the city that I was going to get my body work done at, guess what was closer? DC was closer. So that was divinity redirecting me to let me know, listen, if this is, we know what you want. I've made it clear of what I want for myself. And we're going to redirect you so that you get there. And I got there. And I had a phenomenal time. I had two professionals do work on me, um, Lawrence and Octavia. Lawrence and Octavia were phenomenal. And I like Lawrence. Lawrence was pressing stuff, and I was just like, "What the fuck is you pressing?" That's what I was thinking in my head. That's not what I said out loud, because I didn't want to show my ghetto-ness. But I was just, but it worked. He was like, "Okay, you're gonna have to breathe. Like, breathe." He told me like breath work is gonna be important. Some things, like a lot of things, he was spot on about. Some things not. Because he didn't know that I could sit in a chair, which was a little odd. But I guess it was because of my limited mobility. It was just like in his mind, the computations didn't add up. But yeah, I can sit. There's things that I don't know. It amazes people because of the tightness and the restraints that I can do. Walking is one of them. Um, but those things I still can do, so I'm doing them, and I'm getting better. And those people are there to make me better. But he definitely improved my range right then and there. Like, he pressed things inside. I want to show you um, a little bit. I don't know if I can see. I'll have to take the phone off of here. He pressed muscles. Let me get over here. Get closer. He pressed muscles up in here. He pressed muscles up in here. Can you see my finger? Let me go over here. He pressed muscles up in here. Let me just turn the whole fucking camera around. Make life easier. He pressed muscles up in here. Like, pressed them. Like, I can feel his finger on the bone underneath there, which is this bone right here. He found that bone and he pressed these muscles. And when he pressed these muscles, it loosened up some things. So, yeah. And then he gave me a diaphragm of where to go and get some, to get my shockwave done at, because I am receiving shockwave, but she's kind of like, you know, asking me where to put it at. So now I have instructions. Like, okay, I got some specific instructions. I went and saw um, some other professionals, and it's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. So of course I'm self-reflecting. I'm self-reflecting. I'm listening to spirit, and I guess spirit is guiding me in these other aspects of my life too. And I'm very nervous about it, but I'm also trusting. I'm also trusting, and I'm also not going to tussle. I'm not going to tussle with the divine because I know the divine has my best interest. So I'm just going to flow with it, just like I flowed yesterday. You know, I didn't stop. I didn't turn around. I didn't give up. I kept going forward. I reached my destination. I got home safe. I had a wonderful time doing it. I passed and saw other folks, and some folks that I saw, they didn't even remember who the heck I was. And I was just like, interesting. Like everything I note everything. Nothing is too insignificant for me. I noticed that, you know, it was just wonderful opportunities after wonderful opportunities, and I didn't feel the same when I came back, not just because of the physical body work, but just spiritually and energetically. I feel even as I was going to, and I didn't plan to serve, but even though I realized, oh, this is an opportunity, I'm on a ley line. Let me be intentional and be grateful and be intentional and put out some good vibrations and be intentional and utilize one of my gifts, my voice, to do so. And so I did it, each time. I even ended up in Philly, people. What the fuck was I doing in Philly? I was in, I don't know how many states I visited yesterday. I traveled from the Garden State and I went through Delaware, I'm sure. Did I go through Delaware? Delaware's not down. Because I asked if we had passed the Delaware Gap, and he's like, we've been past that. We are in Maryland now. Um, so whatever states you got to travel to get from where I am, from the Garden State to Maryland. That's the states, and then to Philly. So definitively, what I know, I was definitely here, there, and there, and now I'm back home. Back home, and I did some work. I made a complete mess before I left, looking for my keys, which I gotta deal with sometime today. I don't know when I'm going to deal with it. I intended to do it this morning, but I got up this morning and my body is still processing that work that I got. And I laid on an amethyst. Um, I laid on an amethyst. I think I'm going to start wearing amethyst. I laid on an amethyst energy bed, a heated amethyst energy mat. I've seen them. And I laid on two of them. And so those were great too for me. Yeah, and I have amethyst. So, I mean, I have a really big, huge amethyst. Um, that'll be something, but we gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see. I got some more jewelry. I made some more jewelry. I feel good. I feel good. When I say jewelry, I mean crystals. So I made this crystal right here. I made some other crystals, and I don't even know where I'm going to, because the first batch that I made, I went to a conference and sold them, and so I don't know where I'm going to sell these other ones at. But I figure, why not share them online? Maybe the new ones people might want to order. Who knows? So I did that, and yeah, I feel like I'm being redirected. But outside of that redirection, me. This, and I'm about to be TMI. I come with my matcha tea. It's concentrated and it's green, which means it's healthy for your baby. It's packed with antioxidants. Cause it's healthy. It's healthy. It's healthy for me. It's healthy for you. It's just healthy. So this ovulation period was very, 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 very different. And I didn't understand why it was different. I noticed that pregnancy line, I forgot what it's called, but I did research it on my stomach. I was like, why the fuck is this line on my stomach? What the fuck? I'm not pregnant. I know I'm not pregnant. I know that I ain't pregnant. What's this line doing on my stomach? What is it? My ankle swole. What's that? The fuck is going on? The fuck is going on? Is this premonition? This is not helping me. This is not helping. Okay. It can't be a premonition when you're actually physically experiencing it, right? I just want to know what the heck I was experiencing all these pregnancy symptoms, and I ain't pregnant. I mean, I know there's a thing that's possible, you know. So I checked it out. And hormonally, it's possible, whatever. Um, and but there was intensity, like so intense, so much intensity, different intensities, and then Sari, oh my God, I don't remember his name, but he is I want to say he's a shaman, but he's a good brother that's in the Philippines that has like millions and millions and millions of people with him, and he's also goes into astronomy. So I kind of get my weather forecast from him, my astronomy weather forecast from him, because I'm not with a telescope and with charts. Like it's not what I'm doing right now in my life. It's not what I'm doing. But he does, or he has people who does it for him that he trusts. And so I 3 hours today, 3 hours after he posted this post, and I know there's a time lapse where he's at. Um, I find out that Venus is in Taurus, and Venus rules Taurus, and what that means for the next 17 days. And that's when, planets are in conjunctions or in different spaces, and those planets being in those certain spaces are emitting certain frequencies and energies, and these energies that they are emitting has a certain effect. And he's like, well, if you've been feeling extra romantic lately, and if you've been feeling yada yada yada, and I'm just like, God damn, I knew something was different about this month. I just knew it. And it's where everything, the planets are aligned to be. So I'm not a professional astronomist or astrologist, so that's all I'm gonna say. Again, I'm only speaking of my own tea, my own experiences. So you gotta go and have your own, You gotta go and live your life because this girl living hers. And without further ado, we're gonna jump into our book. So we are in a new book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Evolve Your Brain. And we're only doing the foreword today. Because as you can see, this is a thick book. And if you come in or you watch even this later, you must dive deep. I told someone of my channel and, what I do a little bit, and they were like, oh, I can listen to it while I'm cleaning. And it's like, yeah, you can. But some things you're going to have to grab a pen and a paper to and take some notes. Some things are just to spark things within you that are already there, and encourage you to do further research on your own into these subjects and into these topics, because now is the time to do so. Now is the time for you to be your whole self, not just a shell, not just parts of yourself, and you keeping other parts of yourself down, and you're bottling other parts of yourself up. And no, be your full self. Develop those things that are a part of you and that you really, really feel good when you engage with, but other people may have not given you good feedback. Analyze those things again. Go into those things again. My jewelry is a perfect example. Not saying that I didn't get great feedback on my jewelry, but when I put my jewelry into my cafe, when I put my jewelry into my store, and then I had this individual come and take it. I mean, I guess if I looked at it a perspective of it must be valuable for you to take it, then I wouldn't have felt the way I felt. But I didn't look at it from that perspective. I looked at a perspective of, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have put myself out there. Maybe I shouldn't have put my stuff out there. Maybe I shouldn't have put my gifts out there. Maybe I shouldn't have done that stuff. Like, I really questioned my gifts and what I did, because of that interaction. But I kept going. And, Spirit let me know that I did do things how I was supposed to do them and to continue going forward. So, with that being said, I am going to go into the foreword of Evolve Your Brain by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Since you're holding this book in your hand, you may already be aware of the paradigm shift that's going on in science. In the old paradigm, your consciousness, you, is regarded as an epiphenomenon of your brain. In the new paradigm, your consciousness is the ground of being, and your brain is the epiphenomenon. Feel better? Then you are ready to reap the benefit of this book. We need to find out what the heck an epiphenomenon is. And what I believe an epiphenomenon is, this is the first time I've even seen this word. And I believe the first time I'm diving into this book, to be honest with you, which is ironic because I didn't give it away, but I lent it to somebody hoping that they would take the time to dive into it because it could enlighten them. But then I noticed how much of a puppet that individual is. And I hate to say that because they don't necessarily operate completely like a puppet, but they also don't fully acknowledge, like they acknowledge some, it's weird, but I'm always analyzing. Um, but I got to see something that they did last year. For some reason, it came across my timeline, and when I looked at it, it felt different than the other times I looked at their stuff. It was very repetitive, which I get repetition. But just seeing the audience, like the audience was not moved at all. At all. The audience was not moved at all. So it almost again gave me the impression that I knew that they were in a house, so to speak. They're in several houses. And when I say several houses, that means like they're in spiritual houses. They're also in which would explain why they responded the way they responded when we had a disagreement. They're in spiritual houses, they're in academic houses, they're in several houses, and they do have they have moved up the hierarchy within those houses. However, who and what is at the top of those houses? Who and what? Who and what? And it doesn't mean that they don't genuinely love and they're not authentic and wanting things to get better, because I do believe that in my soul and spirit. However, from my observations of their navigation, and they're genius, they're very genius. Like they play multi-level chess. However, being genius and being in tune to two different things, because you're using two different faculties. Intuition is more of a spiritual faculty, whereas intelligence is, your intelligence is how quickly you are to notice patterns, create patterns, follow patterns. It's different, it's definitely different, two different things, and you need both. Both of them are amazing things to have. So again, I just noticed some things that seemed like it was them, but it wasn't them. It was like they were just repeating. They wasn't coming. It wasn't coming from their core, if that makes sense. Or if they were coming from their core, there was some cloudiness. It was just, because I feel like when you are, and again, I realize not everybody is going to connect, not everybody's going to be moved. However, that's the intention, right? That's the intention. That's the That's the purpose of speaking, is to motivate, inspire, not just to be a spectacle. Anyway, I didn't come over here to psychoanalyze or analyze anybody. I'm just going off of just 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 spirit is just pouring through me. That's what happens. I don't know what I'm gonna say before I come on here. I have no clue at all what I'm gonna say, but I do want to know what epiphenomenon is. I believe epiphenomenon. This is what I feel. Again, this is my first time seeing that word, and that's how we got over to this other direction, because I shared this with that individual. But now I'm happy. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of me, because sharing is okay. Sharing is caring, as they say. However, I realized, okay, now it is time for me to get back my stuff. It's like I shared, I was generous, but now it does. I didn't give it away. It was just an opportunity um, to to assist someone in becoming more aware. But being in those different houses sometimes closes people off to universal truth, because those houses again are hierarchical, and being hierarchical, you have to follow what your leader is saying. If you don't follow what your leader is saying, then there's consequences. So again, I have not a clue of the things that they did to get into the position that they're in. And it's none of my business. 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 I'm minding my own business. But this just gave me an epiphany, because I'm proud that I retrieved, and that has been a constant thing of me. It's like, it's not that I'm an Indian giver. Indian giver is a terminology. You give somebody something and you take it back. But no, if I gifted something, I gifted something. But if I haven't gifted something and I just happen to lend it, or happen to leave it for a period of time because I'm looking forward to coming back to the spaces, but then I am made aware that I'm not welcome in the spaces, I'm taking my stuff. And that ain't being petty. That's me honoring me. That's me honoring my energy. I painted something and I left it in a workspace to, again, emanate good energy. I grabbed some literature, I put it in a place, again, to emanate good energy. And as soon as that place and space said, "You're not welcome," I grabbed all my motherfucking shit. And I I didn't do it loudly. I didn't make a fuss. I did it gently and lovingly. Just as I've gently and lovingly placed my items into these spaces, I am gently and lovingly removing my items, because you have let me know that it's not welcome. So excuse me, pardon me. I'm not imposing myself onto anybody. Those who want me around, those who want me in their spaces, they want me there. And if you don't want me there, it's fine. I have space to be in. And there are spaces that do welcome me. And those are the spaces that I am in. And so, yeah, this was an epiphany. But I'm proud of me, because old me would have just left it and then took the depletion. And I'm not depleting myself for nothing or no one or nobody anymore in my life. I am removing some things and I am letting go of some things. But depletion, no, that's not the same thing. Depletion is taken away from the good. The good is only growing. The things that need to be released are being released. They are flowing, and that's where it is for me. So, yeah, let's get back to this word. Epiphenomenon. Epiphenomenon. This is a big ass word, okay? I don't know how it flows so easily off my tongue. I got to spell it for you guys. Epiphenomene. How many letters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 letters. Epiphenomena. I think epiphenomena is something that's intangible, but let's look it up. Um, let's see. I'm right in front of my computer. I need to clean my desk. For me, just looking in the as a context clue, um, it means something that is ruling something to me. So, again, saying that your brain rules your rules your life versus your consciousness ruling your life. That's what I get from it. But let's see. We didn't even get past the first paragraph yet. Nah. No bay. Non. Press space. I don't want to play. What's going on? We're not connected. No, we're not. Start this on. Yes, there is. Okay, go back. I gotta type it again. Oh, that word grows. Epiphenomenalism. Okay. Epiphenomena is a secondary phenomena or byproduct that accompanies a primary process but has no causal influence on it. Often described as a side effect or incidental symptom, it is famously used in philosophy to argue that mental states, aka consciousness, are caused by brain activity but cannot cause physical actions themselves, sometimes called epiphenomenalism. Well, now, secured. I like it. I'm still extra. So now that in science, because remember, Dr. Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist. I'm going to say it again. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist. I'm going to say it a third time. He's a neuroscientist, so he's not a woo woo guy. He's an actual doctor. Okay? He's an actual doctor that studies neuroscience. That's your neurons. That's your cells. Okay? So, paradigm shift in science, not in the universe, not in science applied. That means a study of something. That means there's been enough studies and enough evidence to prove what he is saying in this book. Again, the consciousness is not a byproduct. The brain is, your body is. Let's continue. If consciousness is the primary ground and brain is the secondary, then it is natural to ask how to use the brain in an optimal fashion to fulfill the purpose of consciousness and its evolution. The new paradigm research has been going on for a while, but this is the first book that addresses this question and brilliantly guides you towards the answer. It says the end, but I know the end means the answer. Truly, Dr. Joe Dispenza has written a user's manual par excellence for the brain from the new primary of consciousness perspective. Dr. Joe Dispenza, not being a quantum physicist, does keep the primary of consciousness implicit, not explicit, until the very end of the book, because it requires quantum physics to see the primary of consciousness explicitly. It may be useful for you, dear reader and listener, to receive a little background information from a quantum physicist. Hence this foreword. So this foreword is written by a quantum physicist. I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Amen. Oh no, it's not Dr. Amen. It's Dr. Amit Goswami. To go back to the beginning of the new paradigm revolution. Yeah, Dr. Joe is a neuroscientist. He's not a quantum physicist, but the guy who's writing the foreword is a quantum physicist. To go back to the beginning of the new paradigm revolution, quantum physics has a fundamental interpretational problem. Ooh. It depicts, I'm sorry, this is a lot of big words in here. And I like words, but shit, these words is big. 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 Okay, I'm behaving myself. Um, um, I'm a little sapio, so don't mind me. Is what it is. Okay, let's start this paragraph again. Hormones, relax. To go back to the beginning of the new paradigm revolution, quantum physics has a fundamental interpretational problem. It depicts objects not as determined things, but as waves of possibility. Oh, sucky, sucky now. How do these? It doesn't say sucky, sucky now. That was my own sidebar. How do these possibilities become actual things of our experience when we observe or measure them? Yeah, that's what quantum physics does. If you think about our brain being the site of us or our consciousness has the capacity to change possibility into actuality, think again. Yeah, the brain can't do that. According to quantum physics, the brain itself rather consists of quantum possibilities before we measure it, before we observe with it. If we, our consciousness, were a brain product, we would be possibilities as well. And our coupling with the object would change neither the object nor us, our brain, from possibility to actuality. Face it, possibility coupled to possibility only makes a bigger possibility. The paradox only thickens if you think of yourself dualistically. You, as a non material dual entity, not bound by quantum laws and separate from your brain. But if you are non material, then how do you interact with your brain? Because your brain is actually material, right? With which you have not a thing in common. This is dualism, a philosophy intra, intra, intraceable as science. Hmm. There is a third way of thinking, and this one leads to a paradigm shift. Your consciousness is the primary fabric of reality and matter, including the brain and the object you are observing, exist within this fabric as quantum possibilities. Your observation consists of choosing from the possibilities the one facet that becomes the actuality of your experience. Physicists call this process the collapse of the quantum possibility wave. Once you recognize that your consciousness is not your brain, but transcends it, once you recognize that you have the power to choose among possibilities, you are ready to act on Dr. Joe's Dispenza's ideas and suggestions. It will help additionally to know that you choose that the you that chooses is a cosmic you, a state of consciousness available to you in non ordinary situations. You reach such states when you have creative insight. In those times, you are ready to make changes in your brain circuits. Dr. Joe Dispenza shows you how. There is another reason that I think Dr. Joe Dispenza's book is a welcome addition to the growing literature of the new paradigm of science, he emphasizes the importance of paying attention to emotions. You may already have heard the phrase emotional intelligence. What does that mean? First of all, it means that you don't have to fall prey to your emotions. You do because you are attached to them. Or, as Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, you are attached to the brain circuits connected with the emotions. There's a story that when Albert Einstein was leaving Nazi Germany for America, his wife became very concerned that she would have to leave behind so much furniture and old household items. I'm attached to them, she complained to a friend. To this, Einstein joked, but my dear, they're not attached to you. This is the thing. Emotions are not attached to you because you are not your brain. You don't have to identify with your existing brain circuits. With regard to the concept of emotional intelligence, some writers are a little confused. They talk about emotional intelligence and how you can develop it, but they also insist that you are nothing but the brain. The problem in thinking that way is that the brain is already set up in a hierarchical relationship with emotions. Ah, I gotta laugh because I don't know who watching this puts the puzzle pieces together and really engages with life at the level that I engage with life. But it's ironic, so ironic that I use the word hierarchical at least 3 times before getting to the third page in the foreword where it's there. So hierarchical is not a negative thing. And me saying that this individual that I was referring to is in these hierarchical houses is not a negative thing. It's just an observation. It just is a fact. Okay, so let's get back to the book. Um, Emotional intelligence is possible only if you can change the existing hierarchy, only if you are not part of that hierarchy. Joe Dispenza recognizes the primary of you, your consciousness, over your brain. And by doing so, he gives you some useful advice about emotional intelligence, about how to change your existing brain circuits with hierarchies. Gandhi's wife was once asked by a journalist how Gandhi could accomplish so much. Simple, said the wife. Gandhi is congruent in regards to his speech, thought, and action. All of us want to be good accomplishers. We want to fulfill the meaning and purpose of our lives. The crucial challenge is how to achieve synchrony between speech, thought, and action. Put another way, the challenge is to integrate thought and emotion. I believe that the evolution of consciousness demands this from us right now. I agree. Recognizing this, Dr. Joe Dispenza has provided indispensable knowledge on how you can integrate your feelings and thinking. I met Dr. Joe for the first time on a What the Bleep Do We Know conference. This movie, as you may know, is about a young woman who's struggling to change her emotional behavior. In a scene of catharsis, played beautifully by actress Marlene Matlin, the woman looks at her image in a mirror and says, I hate you. In that moment, she frees herself to choose among quantum possibilities of change. She goes on to transform her brain circuits, creating a new state of being and a new life. You can change your brain circuits too. You have the power of quantum choice. We have always had the tools to do this, but only now have we become aware of how to use them. Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Evolve Your Brain, will help you use your power to choose and to change. Read this book. You're listening to it. Use its ideas in your life and realize your potential. And that's the end of the forward. Again, the forward is written by Dr. Amit Goswami, and he's a professor of physics, University of Oregon, and the author of Self-Aware Universe. That might be our next book. Because Barnes and Noble's been calling me. Every time I see one, I'll be like, I want to go inside. 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 So anyway, You know I'm a book lover. I'm going to end this show today. This is the end of Soulful Sundays. I'm going to put out some affirmations. I'm successful. I am led by my dreams. I feel more grateful every day. I am confident. I am whatever I want to be. Ooh, this is all on my screen on my computer, people. This is what I'm looking at right here. All that you can't see it the right way because it's what it is. But anyway, nonetheless, thank you for tuning into Soulful Sundays. I'm gonna turn this off because electricity is a thing. Electricity is a thing, and yeah, I'm so grateful, and I will be back next Sunday, 3 p.m. For our next episode of Soulful Sunday. Thank you for tuning in to the Super Tea Podcast Show. Catch my vlogs and my other series here on my channel and enjoy your week. And again, Happy New Year, people.